All right, Harry, thanks for joining us. Appreciate you taking the time out to chat a little bit about the apprenticeship system in the US. First things first, why don't you give a quick introduction for everybody, give a sense of who you are and what your experience is in the apprenticeship world.
Sure. Hey, Patrick, good to see you. I'm Harry Leech. I'm the Director of Strategy at Apprenticeships For America, which is it's a national charity membership organization working to help scale up apprenticeships. My experience with apprenticeships, so I'm quite new here. I've been at Apprenticeships For America for about a month, but I spent the majority of my career in the UK government working on skills funding, including apprenticeships. So I've done a lot on the kind of setting up programs, sorting out different funding streams, allocating budgets, that sort of thing. So much more of the kind of UK experience in like a quite developed apprenticeship system. And I'm starting to dig into and find out more about the US system in the last couple of months.
Fantastic. Well, certainly probably will want to do another one of these in a year, when you've kind of been in the role deeply. But it's always great to get someone on the fresh mind, right? So would love to know, kind of a month in working with AFA, all your experience in the UK. My one question for these calls is, how do we make apprenticeships simpler? And I think you'll have a really unique perspective on this, so I can't wait to hear what you have to provide.
I'll be very interested to see if I say the same thing in a year. Hopefully I don't, because we've picked
Yeah.
some of these issues. So in terms of making apprenticeship simpler, I'd say three things. I'd preface all of this with this is always going to be quite a complex system. You're trying to meet the needs of businesses. You're trying to protect the value of public money. You're trying to meet the needs of learners. Like you're always going to have safeguards, controls. There's always going to be complexity. But we can definitely do a better job. And also, everyone in the system's got good intentions, got the kind of right motivations, and the current sort of issues and complexity are like a product of that in a way. But everyone's trying to do the right thing. So three areas. First one, which is a big one for AFA, we think by far the biggest opportunity is on funding. So you can find funding to cover the cost of an apprenticeship. There are grants, there's federal grants, state grants, local grants. It's an incredibly complicated patchwork of kind of competitive grants you have to bid for, and intermediaries out there, providers end up kind of braiding together loads of different pots of money to get the funding together to pay for the cost of training and support. It's a real barrier to making the system work well. It's really difficult to get employers on board if you can't kind of clearly say, look, here's how we can cover the costs of training. You can't kind of give that offer of what an apprenticeship gives you. It's a barrier to getting new people involved in the system. Like when you're funding things through kind of competitive, like cyclical grants, they go to people who are good at writing bids, not necessarily the people who are good at delivering outcomes. So at the moment, the setup is geared towards the kind of like existing players as a sort of startup barrier. Um, and I think we hear a lot from our members that look, we can get the funding, it is possible, but it's not really worth it. It's too much work. It will take our team, 80 hours to do the paperwork. So at the moment, we're spending kind of a huge amount of time on administration that could be spent on kind of growing apprenticeships. So I think the good news is there are better ways to do it. So we're advocates for a formula-based approach, for a model where you're paying per apprentice, you're paying for the actual outcomes, and then focusing on that rather than the sort of paperwork. I think the second reflection I have in comparison to the UK is the sort of registration system and the way that we recognize a qualification in the US. There's lots that's really attractive about it. Like it's bespoke, you can tailor it to what every employer needs individually. You can be really accommodating to like really particular needs. At the same time, it's hugely administrative. It can take anything from 30 days to a year to get a program registered, put it together. I think our big problem right now is it's a very manual process. Like every single program that's being created, you're jumping through the same loops, and then we're ending up, repeating the same process 1,000 times for what are very similar programs where you could do it once. so that, we can make things a lot simpler with a far more sort of automatic system where you've got kind of like pre-approved building blocks of standards you can pull together, where you can still have choice, but make that approval process like far easier. Whereas now it feels very kind of analog in a digital age. So there's a lot of paperwork that we could get rid of there. And then I think the third and final thought on simplification is, I guess, about the kind of the system and how you sort of find out about what's going on and navigate it. And kind of, based on my experience in the last month, getting into, there's loads of really exciting things going on, lots of exciting programs, intermediaries doing great things, but it's a very tricky system to get into. It's incredibly sort of localized, like it's based on, to figure out what's going on, you need to build like a local network. Say you wanted to start a new program, how do you find the RI provider, the intermediary in that area? At the moment, you've kind of got to know the people in the know. For an employer who's sort of new to this whole thing, it's quite, at the moment, you've just got to, like, coincidentally by chance meet the right people. So yeah, system-wise, there's good stuff we can do there. We need better information, like organized local networks, but national sources, that kind of stuff, like a list of, look, here's the providers, here's the intermediaries in your areas that are already up and running. So yeah, I think those are the three things. So lots of complexity, but like a lot of opportunities to make things simpler. And the good news is it's not reinventing the wheel. A lot of these things have been done in other countries. They work well. There's good tried and tested models. Yeah.
Yeah. Fantastic. Oftentimes when I do these calls, I'll ask people like as a follow-up, hey, like if you had a magic wand, you could address some of these issues. Like what would you do? You kind of hit each and every single one of those. So instead of that, I actually kind of just want to have you revisit the first thing you said and just kind of repeat it. Because I think that's fantastic. Like certainly these calls are about how to make apprenticeship simpler, but any investment that's going to lead to like a return, right, has some complexity. So can you just actually just like close this by like, yeah, the goal is to make it simpler, but there's going to be some complexity. Can you repeat those thoughts? I think those were fantastic. Just as a sort of start into this, you should expect there is some work. And then I would love to hear in your own words one more time.
Yeah, sure. So, you're never going to have a kind of completely simple, like user experience based system in a world like this, because you're trying to meet so many different people's needs. You've got to, fulfill the needs of the employer, who is, an employer, but also like a customer for training. You've got to fulfill the needs of state, local, federal funding agencies who are, putting money into this, putting public money behind this, who are going to have a lot of requirements. Got to meet the needs of, like, probably most importantly, the individual, that are going to be like diverse and different. So you're never going to have, it's always going to be tricky. Some of those things are going to bash up against each other from time to time. But within that, we can definitely do a better job of making things easier for those key players than we do now.
Fantastic. Love it. Harry, thank you for coming on. Thank you for giving that sort of perspective that you're bringing over from past experience. We'll let you go, but looking forward to hearing what you have to say a year or two from now, and a little bit more about what's going on in the US.
Sure, no problem.
Thanks again.